it wouldn't be, you know, Friday morning without it. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Brochard. I'm the Deputy Assistant Superintendent over Early Childhood Operations. I have the pleasure this morning of introducing Dr. Jenna Chesson. Dr. Jenna Chesson serves as the Louisiana Department of Education's Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning. Dr. Chesson is committed to increasing access and opportunity to all students of Louisiana. Dr. Chesson began her work as a high school English teacher in Louisiana. Her early career also includes experience as a TAP teacher, which is Teacher Advancement Program, a mentor teacher, reading interventionist, and an advanced placement coordinator. Prior to joining the department, Dr. Chesson served as Executive Director of Teaching and Learning for Jefferson Parish Schools, which is the largest school system in the state. In this role, Dr. Chesson led the district-wide adoption of Tier 1 curriculum, standardized a model for school-level teacher coaches, and built sustainable practices in teacher-led professional development. Dr. Chesson also previously served in other school system roles in St. John the Baptist Parish, leading work in curriculum and instruction, professional development, and school improvement. Dr. Chesson has served as adjunct professor for the University of New Orleans since 2016, where she teaches supervision of instruction, a required course for Louisiana Educational Leader licensure. Dr. Chesson earned a Bachelor of Science degree in English Education from Nicholls State University, a Master's of Education in Curriculum and Instruction, Reading Specialist from the Nicholls State University, and a Doctorate in Education Administration from the University of New Orleans. She is also the proud parent of 2 sons in Louisiana public schools and a daughter that's not yet school age. I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Chesson since the beginning. She is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to work with. She is definitely extremely supportive of early childhood, values the importance of early childhood. And so we are so excited to have her on the call today. Jenna, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thanks, Lisa, and thanks for inviting me to share just a quick welcome message this morning. Welcome to this wonderful training, the kickoff of what I'm sure it sounds like will be a jam-packed, productive, and collaborative 4 hours. So thanks for having me on. I'm really happy my schedule allows me to be here today and also to stick around for a little while and hear what you guys will be up to this morning. Just wanted to take a few minutes to really share the importance to both myself and Dr. Brumley of early child care and education. It is something that is definitely first and foremost among our priorities for the next few years as a department to really expand the reach of early childhood care and education. And so I look at this meeting, this training today, as just a wonderful opportunity for collaboration between the department, between Early Head Start and Head Start, and I'm really excited to see where this partnership will go. And by having this partnership, we're obviously going to work towards fulfilling Act 3, but also in a much more tangible way, really just expand and extend our outreach to families and our help for families. We know in our present times that our families need us now more than ever. I know that y'all heard my introduction. Thank you, Lisa, that I am a proud mom of 3 young kids, and I really do understand what it's like to choose between work and caring for my kids. And I know a lot of our families, I'm very fortunate to be in the place that I am, but a lot of our families do not have the opportunities and the choices that many of us do when it comes to early childhood care. So I feel so strongly and so passionate about this work. I feel really blessed and fortunate by the opportunity to work with the team members at LDOE. They are such a talented and amazing group of individuals. And beyond that talent, there is such a passion and dedication that I've really, I can genuinely say I've been overwhelmed to feel since I've gotten to the department, and just so impressed with their work day in and day out, and their dedication to this field and this work. So it has definitely been a fun learning experience the last 6 months, going from Jefferson and helping to support early childhood in Jefferson, but then there has been a learning curve coming to LDOE and learning now on a state level. Though Jefferson is a large system, it is much different to do this work in a system than it is at the state, but they have all been wonderful and welcoming and such great teachers and leaders in their own right. So it's been great to get to know the team better here and to really engage in this work, especially at a time when they are just expanding and stretching of themselves to best meet the needs during these truly, truly unprecedented and challenging times for our state. So thank you once again for joining us and being here. I'm really happy, like I said, that I'll be able to stick around for a while and listen to the collaboration. So y'all have a wonderful morning.
Thank you so much, Jenna. My audio is now working, of course.
Yay, Melinda!
Thank you so much, Lisa, for jumping in. That's the thing about teamwork, and that's the great thing about, and I know the Head Start partners and Head Start as a whole understand that, because they work as a team all the time. And building this collaboration is so important. Guys, today we're going to do and talk about some very, very important things as part of our collaboration. I know you guys can see the agenda, so I don't necessarily have to read it to you guys, but I want you to understand something. It is very important. We don't just want you as a partner so that we can share with you what we do in CCAP, but it's very important that you share with us, that you share with the Department of Education your expertise. The Head Start program serves over 20,000 families in Louisiana, and you have an expertise in serving families that is so important to our mission and our goals and what we're doing. And there's a lot of things that are going to come about as we build this collaboration. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Melinda George LaCote. And the reason I guess I started off without introducing myself is that I feel a connection to Head Start because I spent 25 years of my life in Head Start. I spent 25 years of my life. I retired from Head Start. I started in Head Start as a parent on the policy council. And I learned who I was and how to make things happen. I worked as a teacher's aide, a teacher, center supervisor, content area specialist. And by the time I retired from EDR, I was assistant program administrator. So I understand the dynamics of Head Start. And the thing about what we're doing and building this partnership is I value the dynamics of Head Start. And so many of my team does as well. We understand that in the Head Start program, there's so much of a connection to the family and of building families to become stronger and to become more successful. It's building and creating a partnership with families. And any move in early childhood education, that is a missing component. We have to make sure that the families of all of the children of CCAP, that the families in early childhood education in every component of Louisiana are served. So again, thank you so much for coming in today. As I was sharing with you, you're gonna learn about the CCAP processes, but this isn't the end because we're gonna be meeting, I'm gonna ask some of you who are interested in joining a small team of LDOE CCAP members and Head Start members to pull together a collective and an understanding of family engagement, to talk about how do we engage families. CCAP serves close to 20,000 families presently. Head Start, Early Head Start, serves over 20,000 families. So if you look at it, we're serving 40,000 families in Louisiana. There's so much that we can do with that, and we want to move to do that. Again, I'm going to turn it over to Karen, and she's going to navigate us through the agenda. My team is going to explain some of the dynamics of the application process so that you guys can understand how to help families to fill out an application. Head Start families who are interested in before and after care, what it takes for them to fill in an application. We're going to have people on the team who explain to you about the provider help desk and what we offer, some of the resources we offer. So I hope this is a very informative presentation. And again, you can place your questions in the chat box, or some of you have begun to send in your questions prior to this meeting. Please feel free. Thank you so much, guys. I turn it over to you, Karen.
Okay, well, next up on the agenda, we will have Mr. Anthony Martin, a program specialist, and he will discuss the 2020 accomplishments.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership Training. Of course, my name is Anthony Martin. For those who don't know me, I'm the program specialist for the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership. Today, our agenda is specifically designed to provide training for early Head Start, and other stakeholders associated with the collaboration. Our Early Head Start Child Care Partnership is strong and intact. Our collaboration is intense, and even in a year of unprecedented challenges, our growth is well documented. At this time, we would like to welcome our new grantee, Jefferson Community Action, to our partnership. We'd also like to welcome our new child care partners, Clara's Little Lambs Federal City, Total Community Action VID, and of course the addition of Toddlers to University under the LSU Health and Science Center. I would also like to welcome 3 new members, 3 new family advocates, Brittany Levine and Sharon Dixon from the Kingsley House, and Erica French from Total Community Action. I do hope I didn't miss anybody. In the invitation, you were provided a copy of the agenda and the PowerPoint for this training. Stay focused, take notes, use the chat box, and of course we are virtual, so put the cell phones on silent. And I yield the rest of my time to our next presenter, Ms. Tamara Patrick.
Tamara is going to be discussing a child care assistance program, our application process. Tamara.
Good morning, everybody. Like it was stated, I am Tamara Patrick. I am one of the program specialists here. I work in the payments unit. And I'll be taking you guys over the child care assistance application process. So our child care assistance applications, that's where it all begins. So our applications can be received via our CAFE portal or by fax, and most importantly, by email. I can't stress that email enough, the EHS CCAP at la.gov email. That is your direct access to our EHS program specialists and their team. We can also take applications by mail. And remember that our applications through the CAFE portal by email or fax can come 7 days a week, and the applications by mail can come Monday through Friday. The application date is the date that our agency receives the application. And we have to remember our office hours and the hours of business. So any application that is received after 4:30 p.m. is date stamped for the next date. Our online applications that are submitted through the CAFE portal are routed automatically to intake analysts, but that is why, again, I want to stress the use of the EHS email, so those applications can go directly to our EHS team. So this is kind of the overview of the CCAP program. If you don't have this flyer posted or available for both you and your clients, I would suggest visiting our website at louisianabelieves.com and finding this this flyer that has all of our information. And I'll just kind of go over it so you can know what's on there. Right at the top, it gives our sliding fee scale. And the sliding fee scale is based on by household size and by the state median income. And so when we're budgeting our income and we're looking at the check stubs that the clients submit, this is the scale that we're going by. Right below it, it explains, again, how you can submit those applications, whether you're using the cafe portal or you're using our fax. It provides our information and our number. It gives a list to the clients of some of the important documents that we will be requesting so that they can already be prepared. And I will go over those in just one second. And then it kind of explains our process. So once we get the application, what exactly that we're doing. So our analysts and our EHS team, they review those applications within 5 business days. So once the application comes in, we allow them some time to review. They will request any of the documents that are needed, and then we will determine whether that application is complete and ready for processing, whether we need to request some more verification, or if that client is ineligible. Once a case is complete, we will always notify the client via mail. We do our best to reach out to our clients, to contact them, to email them, to make sure that we're getting those documents that we need within that processing time. So just some of the verification that is best to just submit with the application right away is starting with the age and relationship. So we're always going to ask for birth certificates and social security cards. We would like birth certificates and social security cards for all of the members of the household and all of the children under the age of 18. Whether they need child care services or not, our staff will still request those documents. We request the client's wages if they are currently employed. We ask for the last 4 consecutive check stubs. And so the wages sometimes can be one of those things that are back and forth. We do have other options. We'll ask for the check stubs. We'll also ask for an employer statement, but we need to make sure that it's within 45 days of that application date. If our clients are self-employed, we ask for documents as well, either their tax documents from the previous year, verification of their sales, and we also have an internal form that the client can use to submit and provide us with their information for self-employment. If a client has any other unearned income, such as child support, their alimony, SSI, Social Security, we also ask for their award letters or their verification of that income that they receive. Our separation notices are also something that we request. If a client has previously applied and they told us that they were working at one employer and then they apply again and they have a new employer, we will ask for a separation letter. So some of these documents are just good to let the clients know that once you apply, it is great to keep track of all of these documents throughout your process, because if something changes in the middle of your certification period, we will still need that verification.
Tamara, let me jump in really quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to remind Early Head Start and Head Start. This looks just like IRSA. I told you that I'm very familiar with Head Start, and we all are. Most of these documents you're collecting for enrollment in the Head Start program. So you see how this collaboration, working together, you can help families, because a lot of this stuff is in your IRSA department, is in the child's file already, because it's mandatory that you collect a lot of these things. So it makes the collaboration so much easier. I just wanted you I just wanted to connect those two for you. You're not asking, most of this stuff is not new to you because you asked for it to certify eligibility for Head Start.
Thank you. So also just ending it off, just the immunization records, we also can check those here at the department. And if a client is currently enrolled in school or a job training program, we also ask for verification of that as well. Okay. So one of our new qualifications for eligibility that we've introduced is actively seeking employment. And I'm going to provide you guys with a brief overview, but on the previous slide, I explained that we asked for check stubs and we asked for school because the requirement for eligibility is having 20 activity hours. And so recently we have implemented actively seeking employment. And though this is for our clients who are actively seeking employment, they are on the job search. So we at the department, we understand that while we're looking for work, we still need childcare. And it takes time to go to the interviews and to complete these applications. And we still want to be able to service our clients while they're out actively looking for work. So just a few things to remember for actively seeking employment and things to know is that the household, if they are actively seeking employment, they do not have to meet that employment and training requirement that I said earlier of 20 hours, but they have to meet all other certification requirements. So all of those other documents that I stated before, they still need to submit. They still need their birth certificates, their Social Security, up-to-date immunizations. They still need verification of their unearned income. We will allow them 30 days to submit those documents along with verification that they are actively looking for work. And that's through registration with the Louisiana Workforce Commission and setting up that hire account with them. And so, like I stated, they'll have those 30 days. If, we can go back. Thank you, Ms. Karen. So if the client is certified and they're found to be eligible, then they're going to be certified for 90 days. And we're giving them 90 days. And within those 90 days, if they do find employment, which is our goal, then we're going to extend that case for the full 12-month cert period. But they will have that beginning 90-day cert period. And within that cert period, we have an actively seeking employment SSA 3 who works with those clients. She contacts them, she provides them with some additional information and some additional resources during this process to make sure that we are able to extend that case if possible. We always want to remind our clients as well that they are able to be certified under actively seeking employment once every 24 months. So important things is that if you do have a client that comes to you that is actively looking for work, it is very important that on the application that they indicate it. That is our only way to determine if this is an actively seeking employment case and for us to take those necessary processes for that case. So this is an example on the paper application. There is a section that asks them to list any persons who are looking for employment, and they can just put their name in that box, and that will kind of signal our team that to do our actively seeking employment process. And this is also an example of our cafe portal, and there's a portion on the cafe portal that just says, is anyone looking for work? They put their name in there, and then they click yes for looking for work. If these sections are not completed, we cannot process that case as actively seeking employment. We will contact the client and ask them and have a conversation and let them know, if you are currently looking for work, please indicate that on our application so that we can process it in that manner. Okay, so with actively seeking employment or with a regular intake application, we have 30 calendar days to process that case. So like I stated before, within the first 5 days, our team here will review that application. They'll request any documents that are needed. And then that we will have up to 30 days for all those documents to come in and for us to make our eligibility decision. So our cases are certified for 12 months or up to 24 months. Depending on the age of the child. I'm sorry, my little box is in the way. Okay, and so like I stated, so they can receive an extended certification period, and that's to cover the eligibility for our 3-year-olds who are beginning kindergarten. And we will speak on homeless later on, but our homeless households are exempt from the education and training requirements as well. So some of the reasons why our households may not be ineligible based on the information that comes on the application is sometimes our clients forget to put the child on the application. So we cannot process that case because there's no eligible child. If their household income is above the state median income guidelines that I stated that were on that flyer, they are ineligible. If they are not meeting those ENT requirements and they stated that they are not actively seeking employment. And this does not, this ENT requirement does not apply to the homeless clients and if the head of household is a disabled member. And also, if our clients submit income and they're not meeting federal minimum wage, those are also ineligible. And I'm going to turn it over.
Okay, next up we will have Danielle Broussard, who will discuss special populations.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Karen, and thank you, Tam. At LDOE, we have a specific group that we prioritize. The term that we use for this group is our special populations. Although we currently do not have a CCAP waiting list, if and when a CCAP waiting list occurs, this specific population will never be placed on the waiting list. This includes our TANF families, which is our temporary assistance for needy families, and our strategies to empower people, which is also known as our STEP participant. Those are handled through DCFS. Homelessness, as established by the McKinney-Vento Act, in which we'll dig a little deeper with a little bit later on. We have really grown our homeless population and processes, and that is something that we are extremely proud of. Also, our disabled population, this is the disabled participants that have been established by individuals with Disability Education Act, excuse me, are also known as IDEA. Our foster care population, which is also housed with our DCFS agency, we work directly with them to provide services for our foster care populations. And lastly, you heard Ms. Melinda speak on this a little bit earlier, our early Head Start partnerships. So these populations we prioritize. We are able to identify this population rather quickly to get them the services they need as soon as they apply for child care assistance.
Danielle, let me jump in really quickly.
Sure, no problem.
We have a lot of We have a lot of Head Start participants on the call today. Right now, Head Start is not a special population, and I want everyone to know that we are. We're trying to. We're working really hard to grant access to more and more children and families in Louisiana. So what I need Head Start to do is come on board quickly while we don't have a waiting list, because presently, as Danielle said, we do not have a waiting list, but that will change very soon. We're looking at probably by February or March, we will go into waiting list status. Presently, right now, Head Start, regular Head Start families are not in our special population. So it is very important that as you come on for before and after care, that you begin to come on now so that those children can be certified prior to a wait list. Thanks, Dee.
No problem, Melinda. So, oh, go ahead. Okay. Thanks, Karen. So processing special population cases, as I stated before, it's a breakout for how we process those cases. The TANF and STEP cases are referred over from DCFS and the Louisiana Workforce Commission. Our homeless and transitional living verification, we're gonna need that in order to process those homeless cases. And as we jump into homelessness, you'll get an example of what that documentation and how we work with those local liaisons in each parish to identify that homeless population. Individualized education programs, which you guys are, I'm sure, very familiar with, also known as IEPs and IFSPs. Those are what we use to qualify those special populations with a disability. We also have a CCAP 3D or a CCAP 3SN. And those are just verification forms that we use. I know right now it just sounds like a lot of jargon that we're using, But as you continue to be more familiar with these populations, you will also get accustomed to the forms that are associated with certifying this population. Lastly, foster care are processed by DCFS, and then the early Head Start allocated seats are processed upon assignment. So these are our special populations. Once again, we're going to continue to make you guys knowledgeable of how we serve populations. And then, as Melinda stated, as this list grows, we just have an overall targeted goal of serving as many populations and prioritizing them as much as we can. Thanks, Karen.
Okay, next up we will have Tara Gatlin, and she's going to discuss collaborating to serve our homeless families. Tara?
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tara Gatlin. I'm the homeless liaison for Child Care Assistance, which is CCAP. Children who meet the definition of homelessness are defined by the McKinney-Vento Act. They are categorically eligible for child care services. Homeless applications are certified in the 90 days without verification, which is 90 calendar days. We definitely send multiple attempts to get the verification to the agency within the 30-day period. I'm the Child Care Assistance homeless application, and I work with the families to connect them with different resources by the local education agency, which is, again, one of those jargons, the LEAs. This is CCAP participants. They'll receive a year's services once they do get certified for child care assistance. At the redetermination time, if the family still qualifies for the child care assistance and they do not exceed the 85% state minimum income, which is the SMI, the families would then become homeless with the same benefits that they received for the prior year, which is for the first certification. So again,
and let me step in real quick right there, Tara. I want to just kind of praise the department here for a minute, because we had a restriction where you can only apply for homelessness once in a lifetime. And we saw that that was not beneficial to serve our Louisiana children and families, because as you know, people can be homeless multiple times throughout the year, or they can get back on their feet and then fall back into homelessness again. So one of the things that we were very proud of is lifting that homeless restriction and that once in a lifetime fee to just serve those populations, so that they can apply for the homeless population again as many times as needed in order for them to obtain the self-sufficiency. So I think that that's a big goal for the department. And also Tara being our CCAP LEA, working closely with those local education agency liaisons in those parishes to communicate with those families. It just builds the bridge and the partnership between the department and the community to make sure that we're actually serving those families as needed.
And one of the great things, Danielle, in adding to that, is everyone in Head Start and Early Head Start, they have a program information report, PIR report, that's done every year. So they track how many homeless families they've moved to self-sufficiency. This part of the work and part of the information on your PIR report, when we talk about serving, actively seeking employment and homelessness, all of these services are things that you can then list at the end of the year, at the end of your service year, on your program information report. And your agency can get credit for the resources that you provided and for moving these families to another, to self-sufficiency.
Okay, thank you, Tara.
Miss Karen, this is Lisa.
Yeah.
Can I add on something to homelessness really quick?
Yes, you can.
And I think everybody's fired up about homelessness, and I say that in a weird way, right? But I think we are, you know, we have had so many hurricanes this year, and we've had so many people who have experienced homelessness because of that, because of Laura, because of Delta, because of Zeta, because of all the tropical storms, right? And there's still folks out there that are experiencing homelessness. And so by, you know, really digging deep into what the true definition of experiencing homelessness is, makes a lot of people qualify who really don't think that they qualify, right? So, you know, I just say that because I'm sure in some of your communities you have some of these families coming in and out. So I just want to stress the importance of that particular criteria. And again, just remind everybody that, you know, families that experience homelessness do bypass our waiting list. So, you know, like Melinda was saying, we do anticipate a waiting list happening probably February, March timeframe is what we're guessing. And so it's just important to get as many Head Start kids in as possible during this push. So thank you, Ms. Karen.
Okay, thank you. Tamara discussed earlier the CCAP application process when the families first apply for child care assistance program. So now she's going to discuss when that family comes up for recertification. So Tamara and redeterminations.
Okay, back again. All right. So I'm not going to go over the application submitting process. For our applications that are submitted for redeterminations, it is the same methods. Our CAFE portal, by email, using the ehsccap@la.gov is, like I said, that's your direct contact, but we still have fax and we still have mail. There's a few differences with redeterminations. With redeterminations, the similarities, we are still asking for an application. We are still going to request verification of the ENT requirements. If the client listed that they were homeless or that they're actively seeking employment, those documents will still be requested. Some key dates that are important for redeterminations is that we cannot receive the application or process it as a redetermination 45 days prior, before that date, 45 days prior to the closure date. So for our EHS clients, their cert periods are going to June or July of the year. That's when their cert periods end, and that's when we try to process those EHS redeterminations. So we cannot have those applications submitted too early because we're unable to process them. So make sure that they're within 45 days of the closure date. I don't think I mentioned before, but when the cases are certified, we send out forms to both the client and provider notifying you of the amounts received as well as the cert period. So it's very important to keep those documents because it has the dates. Our offices also mail out an 11RC, which is a computer-generated form that goes out to all of the clients, notifying them of that 45 days in advance. So once that form goes out and they receive that form, they can now submit their application for redetermination. We also, on our provider help desk, who will speak later, we also have the 11RCP, which is mailed and emailed to notify the providers so that the providers can kind of help those clients and say, listen, your redetermination period is coming up. You need to submit your application. And so, like I stated, if it's received prior to that 45th day, we will use it as a change report and just make any changes to the case, but we will not process that application. So we will ask the client to submit another application that is within that time period. Like I had stated before, though our EHS applicants should not receive a redetermination in the middle of the EHS school year. So the school year begins around August 1st of the current year and ends on July 31st of the following year. And so we have worked really hard to get all of those clients on that same cert period, and our EHS team worked so hard during that time frame to get all of those redeterminations processed at that time. So make sure that if you receive a form and your cert period is not, and the client cert period is not lining up with that school year, please contact Mr. Martin with EHS. Also, if the only eligible child in the household is turning 3 in the middle of that certification period, the case will still remain as an EHS participant until the end of the school year. And then at that time, when the redetermination is processed, then we will make the necessary changes.
One of the things, Tam, and to all of the Head Start participants out there, this is something that your IRSA department can handle and can, again, you're collecting the documents, you're helping the family to fill out the application, you're sending in all of your applications at one time, so they will also be routed through Mr. Martin and Ashton and that team. Tyree's part of is helping with that that team to make sure that we get all of the Head Start information in one area. So that's the great thing. Even when it comes up for redetermination, those documents are in the client's file. And getting that information is something that your IRSA department can assist with.
Okay. We got so excited about the homeless population and the homeless families. I need to step back and ask Tara Gatlin if she was finished with her presentation. Tara?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Oh.
ma'am. I do appreciate you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody, if you have any questions, please submit your questions to me and I'll be more than happy to assist you with them.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you.
So we've heard about the child care, the CCAP application and certifying that family for child care services. So next up, we will have Ms. Robin Johnson speaking on provider payments. Robin?
Good morning. As stated, my name is Ms. Robin. Some of you know as last name Campbell Johnson. I'm the payment consultant over the payments department. We'll discuss the automated payment process. Child care providers are paid based on electronic attendance records, and that is through the TOTS portal. Ms. Jordan will speak on that a little later, but that is the POS device that's within the center. The parents come in, they'll go in and they'll get their finger scanned, and at that time, once the authorizations are inputted, it is linked to the provider in their portal. And a parent is responsible for signing the children in and out of care upon dropping the child off and picking them up. At the end of the week, TOTS sends a activity file of the attendance scans, and the system calculates the provider's weekly payment using this file, which is the reason why it's very important that the parents scan in and out. Not only should the providers is responsible for the parent scanning in and out, but they're also responsible for keeping a attendance log paper. With that, EFT deposits are available to the provider within 2 days after the TOTS file is sent over.
Just want to remind, because Head Start, they're new to this. So right now, we're paying on enrollment and not attendance. So even though we're asking families to continue to scan in and scan out, we are paying based, until March, we are paying based on the number of children enrolled, and we are not using the TOTS scans or the IVR scans to generate payment.
Okay, so that was my next slide. And during COVID time, we are not paying based on attendance. We're paying, the providers are being paid based on enrollment. But we still encouraging the providers to still continue to keep the parents scanning in and out on the TOTS machine. There is another option given to the provider, which is the IVR. So however the electronic tracking system that the provider chooses, they cannot do both, but they can do one. However they should still use the tracking of time services and maintain the attendance log during the COVID. Providers still being paid weekly, and the deposits are still within the 2 days, and remittance advice is still being mailed. So the only thing that has changed is that we're paying based on enrollment instead of attendance, but the providers are still encouraged to continue using the tracking of time services, and we'll be paying currently right now based on enrollment, as Ms. George stated, through March 31st, 2020. And these are the new the state maximum daily rates and the pay scale that's been provided. Currently, infants with type 3 centers is the max is $25. Ages 1 to 2 is $23.75. 3 and older is $22. The special needs rate is $31.50. The toddlers special needs is $29.93, and the special needs 3-year-olds and older is $27.72. And right now, these are the current rates that we are paying during COVID. We are paying the state max rates. And even if the provider rate is lower during COVID, we are paying the state maximum rate. And it's a continuation. Now this lists the family child care and in-home. This is the right now currently the family child care and in-home are being paid as the rates that I went over. But these are the maximum rates outside of COVID, but they were still listed for you. Okay. This here is the semi-automated invoices. Providers are still going out because anytime a parent cannot scan using the tracking of time services, we issue a semi-automated invoice. And this is a form that is mailed to the provider. And outside of COVID, the provider is responsible for sending this form back along with the attendance logs for the time period that's being issued.
Darnesta just pointed out something. Darnesta just pointed out something in the chat. You're right, Darnesta. We are paying on enrollment till March 2021, not March 2020. Thank you so much.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Next slide.
Yes. So there are some important dates when you do receive the semi-automated invoice. The dates. So the dates on the invoice, and this is outside of the COVID, because right now the providers are not required to return the SAIs during payment based on enrollment period, which ends, I had it correct there, March 30, 2021. So, but the dates are very important after this period because it's voided after 7 business days. So you see the time period there with the service period. On this example here, the service dates are from September 1st through September the 3rd. The provider is responsible for sending their paper attendance log for that child prior to that deadline that's listed. So you have the days that it was sent out in the top corner, and on that at the bottom page, on the bottom of the page, you'll see the expiration of the document. So that is sent back to the department, the invoice, once it's completed, back to the department along with the attendance log, and payments is generated within 21 days of receipt of the SAI.
Okay, any questions? Next up, thank you, Robin. Next up, we will have provider certification, and Veronica Buckley will discuss that. Veronica?
Okay, good morning. Is there an echo?
Yes.
Okay, what about now?
No.
Okay, I will
Mute
talk.
your computer screen and use your phone.
Okay.
You sound good now, Ms. Veronica.
Yeah, you're good.
It's working, Veronica.
Veronica, your phone is muted.
No, it's not. Okay, I'm just have to talk with the phone to my ear, but I hear an echo. Can y'all hear me clear? That's what's important.
Yes,
okay, excellent. So we're going to move it forward. And I do want to remind everyone, any questions, please put it in the chat session. We have the team that's viewing it, and we'll be responding in those pertinent areas. They'll point it out and share it, because I know everybody does not put any questions they may have in chat, or they may not speak out. Provider certification happens annually. As you begin this process, as we said on the initial call, you can start the process now while you're dealing with licensing. You don't have to wait. It's a little lengthy process. You have someone assigned to you on the provider, with the provider certification team that will assist you, and that's Ms. Stephanie Holloway. Of course, as I speak in a few minutes about the provider help desk, we're going to be at your convenience for use as well. Okay, but it's simple. You're going to open a CAFE account. You're going to submit your application through the account. We have a little something going on differently now as far as submitting it. But again, you'll have a provider certification team member to assist you with completing the application. These are the documents that you'll include with it. The provider agreement is so important. We can't go into great detail because of the time limit, but I encourage you to read it thoroughly. It's your binding contract with the department. Everything that we're covering today, it's embedded within the providing agreement. So we need to make sure you read it and understand it. You're going to submit your provider grade agreement. You're going to let us know what your rates are currently. If you have special needs children, it's on that form. There's a complete checklist on our website, which is also an excellent tool and your best friend when dealing with the department in any area. Okay? Academic approval. That's submitted annually. You need to make sure you submit it timely. One of the key things for academic approval is that, and being a part of the Early Childhood Care and Education Community Network, is that you appoint someone who will specifically communicate with the department timely. Those are the two key functions for the academic approval, that you have a designated person and they're able to communicate with the department timely. Because the academic approval, which is contingent upon you submitting your program assurance timely. And so you have to make sure you submit it before, submit it timely, because it ends on June 30th. Every year, you have to sign it, resubmit it. And that's because we need to know your commitment. Okay, but the academic approval or the program assurance covers 3 areas. Okay, the first area is that, again, you're going to agree to be a part of the community network. The second part is that you're going to be a part of the accountability system with us, which is ensuring class observations take place. We do that. You've done that. I used to do it when I was in Head Start. Train your staff, give them feedback, ensure quality interactions are occurring on a daily basis so that when class comes out, it's not about impressing them, but it's about your teachers being prepared and doing what they always do to ensure quality, because we know it's occurring. Okay, and then the third part of coordinated enrollment is the count. The choice, the choice of parents being able to say, hey, I want my child to go to Head Start, I want my child to attend here. And then even once your Head Start slots, daycare slots are full, then what we do with the coordinated enrollment, the count that you give us annually, we'll know who has open slots, who has availability. So if mom says with her submission that I need my child to go to this, and we can say, hey, we can meet that. So it's coordinated enrollment. Once you're done, then we still have to deal with those families who still have to put their children in a quality early child care setting. Okay, so that's what the academic approval is mainly about. Your direct deposit form and these other documents you have to submit as well. And once you're finished with licensing, there's a communication in our system. We'll give you what's called your TIPS number or your provider number. Okay, can we get the next slide, please? And this is just the same thing that I basically said. And then the only thing that I did mention, oh, I'm sorry, Bulletin 139, that's your best friend. Please read it. Please read it. It may look lengthy, but look at Bulletin 139 the same way I used to look at Bulletin 137. I never forget when I supervised a Head Start site, what I would do is every day I would pass by my licensing board and read it. At first it seemed like so much, but Ms. LaCote used to encourage me and say, you can do this. So what I would do is pass by and read it. Then I started reading Bulletin 137. Y'all know it's still second nature. Do y'all know it's helping me right now in this position? As you ask me licensing questions or my team, I'm able to go with it because why? Bulletin 130 was my best friend. So Bulletin 139 is the same way. If you can capture and learn Bulletin 137, you can learn Bulletin 139 because that's another document that binds us. Okay, and then also licensing is going to conduct a visit. Usually one announce, but I'll let them talk about that later. Can we go to the next slide, please? And the renewal, you can start it early. Please start it early. You don't have to wait because we don't want any payment issues. It's the same information. You're going to go through the same process. We'll hold your hand, okay? So you won't be in this by yourself until you get used to the process. But the thing is timeliness and submitting it early. Okay, can we go to the next one? You have a friend in us, the Provider Help Desk. There is no way that I could take all of the credit for what happens on the Provider Help Desk. I'm just one link in the whole chain, and I'm so proud of the team because they work hard, they work overtime. And these are some of the tools, all of the information that we've been sharing today. When it all boils down to it, to make sure that you remember, to make sure that you understand the processes, you'll be contacting the Provider Help Desk team and Provider Certification. We often say we are married, and we are. So some of the tools and services that we have at your disposal to help you to remember everything. And trust me, the people who've spoken before me, they didn't go into deep detail because we would be here all day tomorrow, the rest of the week. So for each of your regions, you have a staff assigned to your area to help you with the Provider Help Desk and certification. But it does not matter with us. If you call, email us, we're going to assist you. Rhonda Miles, as I understand it, it's majority New Orleans area on the line. She is your Provider Help Desk program specialist. And Stephanie Holloway is your person with provider certification. Okay, so that's the first tool, your first point of contact. Then we also offer technical assistance. After this, as any new providers come on board, if you contact us and say, hey, Ms. Buckley, Ms. Miles, Ms. Holloway, we need to go a little deeper. Can you explain? Help me understand. One of the issues that we have a lot of questions about, a trend with asking is, how do I calculate the difference in what my clients are supposed to pay? Well, payments came up, and part of my team with an awesome tool called the Payment Resource Tool. So what the Provider Help Desk does is we go through that tool with you and help you to share that with your parents. That's just one of the things. Okay, so you are always offered technical assistance. That's TA. All you have to do is call and request it. We're in the process of preparing it now for new providers, but we are here for you. You can also call the Provider Help Desk numbers. We have 2 phone lines. You can request an appointment about your issue. You may say, hey, Ms. Buckley, I need to discuss. I'm more auditory. I need to hear it. I need a voice. Yes, it's fine. Y'all communicate and document, but I need to hear it. Help me to understand it this way. We respect that. So you call one of those 2 numbers, and what you do is you say, Ms. Jolanda Harness, Ms. Veronica Johnson, I need an appointment. They're going to set your appointment with your program specialist with the Provider Help Desk to discuss whatever your concern or query is. Early childhood newsletter, please make sure you are signed and that you receive it whenever the newsletter goes out. It has pertinent information in all areas, even beyond CCAP, early childhood, grants, everything you need to know. There's always a message from the superintendent, but everything that's current and trending with the department is embedded within that early childhood newsletter. Please make sure you read it. Sign up for it. Okay? Then we're going to begin our quarterly courtesy email from the Provider Help Desk. It's going to include common documents. It's going to reinforce some of the statements that you'll receive in the early childhood newsletter. It'll include more specific processes and procedures for you as the provider. It goes a little bit more. We can only put so much in the early childhood newsletter. The forms you'll frequently use, all kinds of things, TOTS, but it'll be valuable information to make sure you're successful. Then there's the provider ticket system. What my team and I experienced, since COVID, your queries were going everywhere, everywhere. And what you didn't know as a provider, and even as a new provider, because I see old and new on here, is that those queries still come back to us. We still have to do the research, and we still have to respond. So to curtail that, we're directing all queries to the provider ticket system. Please, it helps us because we find that we're answering the same thing. So put it in the provider ticket system. We answer in order of receipt. And some we have to delve a little bit deeper, so it takes a little longer, but the team always says, hey, it's still being worked on. We haven't forgotten about you. We sent a notice of that kind to let you know that, you know, it's still being worked on. But put any queries you have in the provider ticket system. That's going to be your best friend. We're in the process of preparing our provider guidebook, updates with the provider guidebook. This same information and more will be embedded in there. It'll be included in the provider guidebook. That'll be another one of your best partners, best buddies, okay? Annual forums, and you can go to the next slide. We're gonna do them virtually this year. We're trying to plan them for early next year. And it'll reinforce a lot of that you've heard, any updates heard today, any updates that may have occurred since this meeting, it'll be included in the annual forum. And again, it'll be virtually. You'll get a notice well in advance so you can plan to be a part of it. This slide just lists a lot of the common queries that we get from our providers. And again, we dig and we research deeply for these to make sure you have your responses timely. You often want to know about case statuses for new applications, redeterminations. If your clients put in or parents put in for a change, parent is going to a new center, they've added a sibling, income has changed, all of that comes to the provider help desk. Questions about payments, ensuring you receive your remittance advices. Sometimes you want to replace your remittance. You've misplaced them and you need another one. Those types of things. Understanding your fees, your daily rates when it's time to submit those. Provider help desk and provider cert takes care of that. Part-time and full-time co-pays, as I stated earlier. And then even knowing how to navigate the website and even the TOTS portal. Jackie Dryden is awesome with that. And she'll give more information shortly.
Excuse me, Ms. Buckley, I need to jump in real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Guys, the provider help desk has been what we did to ensure that our providers get the assistance they need as quickly as possible. What we're moving to in January, and some of you have been texting me and also in the chat room that you want to be a part of this. When we talked about, Ms. Buckley talked about the forums, we would go around the state of Louisiana when we first, in 2015, when the Department of Education first took over the CCAP grant, we went around the state of Louisiana working with providers so that we could rebrand CCAP, so that they could understand CCAP and the provider help desk was formed for that. Well, in the next coming year, we're gonna start doing something similar, but for families, as part of our family engagement initiative, going around the state of Louisiana and giving information directly to families. And that's what we're moving to for rebranding the way families see CCAP and the way they use it, much the same as we've done the provider help desk. So for those of you who are interested in joining on that part, please make sure you let Kyrie know. Ms. Buckley and her team, as she said, does an extraordinary job of working with providers. And for you guys in Head Start who are not as familiar as the early Head Start grantees with this is gonna also help you in not only getting started, but in continuing to function for before and after care, answering your questions. There's no question that is that we would think is stupid, or every question that you have should come through the provider help desk. Ms. Buckley brings a unique perspective because she also understands, her and Mr. Martin, the constraints of Head Start, what governs Head Start and how you guys operate. So I wanted to make sure that you're knowledgeable about that for those outside of EBR who are not familiar with Ms. Buckley or Mr. Anthony Martin, they also spent many, many years working in Head Start. So they understand the performance standards, and they understand the constraints on Head Start and early Head Start populations. So you can talk to them not just based on CCAP, but you can talk to them based on your specific needs. They're continuing to collect data so that we can reform our practices. As we move into this new partnership or this enhanced partnership, I'm not going to say new, I'm going to say enhanced partnership with Head Start. Understand that nothing is written in stone. We tweak our processes, we massage our processes as we learn more about the need from both of us. So Ms. Buckley is the person that, and her and Mr. Martin, that are going to be collecting the data from you, things that work better for you, things that we can change to meet your needs. Thanks, Ms. Buckley. I'm sorry.
No. That's fine, because I did mention that I was a product of Head Start, so that's fine. But for the rest of these queries, as Ms. George just said, we will help you to understand them relative to your present roles in Head Start and to ensure that you're successful in your new role in this partnership. So we look forward to working with each of you. Hello to everybody on the line from Head Start, and then I see some of our present providers. So thank you, and again, just contact us, and there will be a contact and resources slide at the end where you'll know how to get in contact with us. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. Next up, we will have our experts in TOTS tracking of time services, Ms. Jackie.
Good morning. Glad to be with you this morning. I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of you in the past about TOTS, about the portal, and about the machines, operating the machines. So if I haven't talked to you in the past, I look forward to it in the future, and so that we can make the best of our TOTS portal and our TOTS machine. So on the first slide, you have, if you don't have access to the TOTS portal, this is how you will gain access through, go to this website, and then you'll use the steps below that. It's really hard in this system to reach a customer service person. You tend to want to hang up before you get to the last option, the third option, but wait on the line 2 or 3 seconds, and then you'll eventually get to a customer service representative who can help you give you a temporary password to set up your account in TOTS. So today we're going to talk about the TOTS portal, and that becomes more and more important. I saw one question about the remittance advices. We're eventually going to put remittance advices on the portal. We had that work well underway, and we had to stop to do some work for COVID. And so once after March, we'll get back to the remittance advice. Ms. Buckley also mentioned Bulletin 139. So when we look at the portal, on the left-hand side, you'll see some green bars. Those all drop down, and they have information in them that you'll find very beneficial to you when you have an opportunity to review it. One of those is the link to Bulletin 139, and that gives you all of the policies relative to the Child Care Assistance Program for LDOE. You also have the provider guide, in a link to the provider guide. Then there's some other resources that you'll find helpful as well. The number there on the left is the same one I gave you in the first slide. This number is for you to call if you have problems with the equipment. A lot of times you call me, and I'm happy to help you if I can, but you also can call this number. It's really quicker sometimes if you call them, because they can test it, troubleshoot it, test it, and send you out a replacement if it's a problem with the machine. Whereas if you contact me, I have to do that, and then I have to contact them. So sometimes it's faster for you to go directly to them. In the middle, under helpful links, you don't even need a password to view all this information. And it's really helpful. I'll call your attention to we won't go through all of them, but I'll call your attention to the fifth one on the list. That's the biometric manual. It's about 25 pages. It has directions for everything you'll ever do with the TOTS machine. And it also gives you a picture of each step and shows you what it'll look like at each step. For example, if you're trying, a child's checking in and out, it'll tell you, you know, put your finger up there, press F2, put your finger up there, then it'll show you what it looks like on the screen. And for every step, it does the same. For your login is your provider number, your 9-digit TIPS number, and your password is what you set up when you call this 800 number. That'll be your password. Okay, Karen. The portal, I know that some of you have seen this before, but we keep stressing it because it is a source of a lot of information, and the more we enhance the portal, the more beneficial it'll be to you. I mentioned that we're going to put remittance advices on the portal eventually. And if you're using the IVR, you really need to use the portal to be able to see if people have checked in and out. That's the only way you will know once a parent leaves that whether they've checked the child in and out every day. So right now you're getting paid based on enrollment, but when you're no longer getting paid based on enrollment, that'll be important because you won't get paid if the parent didn't check them in and out. So on the provider profile page, this gives you information about authorizations, transactions, broadcast message. It provides you access to a couple of reports, your provider profile, and the household profile. So on this one, you'll see all the information on this slide, the information about your center. And by the way, if you log into the portal and you see anything on here that's incorrect, be sure and let provider certification know that that needs to be updated. On the bottom, you'll see authorizations is the first link, and transactions, those two are very beneficial. And one of the most beneficial ones, especially if you're using the IVR, would be the attendance report. And we're going to look at those in a second. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the authorization report. So when you click on authorizations on that first screen, this is the screen you get. It lists everyone who's authorized for your center. If they're not here, then you're not going to get paid for them, and they can't check in and out at your center. So if you've gotten something saying they're authorized by the department, but they don't appear on your roster, then you need to contact the through the ticket. You can contact through the ticket. Is that the ticket system, Veronica? And let us know that that child's not on the on your roster. Under transactions, okay, Karen, the next slide. Transactions, you will see all the transactions for a particular person or for your center for a certain period of time. So on the left-hand side is the date, and that's the actual date that they attended your center. And then the child number, and then where it says transaction type, that's whether they were checking in, out, or you did a previous check-in and a previous check-out. And if you see here, we have a red box around the one that says SAF check-in. We need to pay particular attention to those, because if your transactions go to SAF, that stands for store and forward. If they go there, that means you don't have a connection to the TOTS system. So those will never get downloaded until you download them, and you wouldn't get paid for them if they're outside the time frame for you to report that attendance. So it's important that if you see that message that you find out what's wrong with your connection, or you contact me or the Conduit Help Desk. Over in the last column, it tells you whether it's a successful transaction or not. If it says 00S/A, that means it was successful. You have a check-in. If it gives you another message that we have circled in red, like check-in exists, if it tells you check-in exists, it says that on the screen when the parent checks in. It also tells the parent what date they have a check-in for. And what that's telling them is you need to check out for that date, but so that you can move on to the next day. So If they will clear up this transaction, then they can check in and out for the following day. Authorization, no authorized units. If they have a message that says no authorized units, that means that they were allotted a certain number of units for the month and they've already used them all. That will sometimes happen on part-time children who are in care all day, and so you probably would need to have contact the help desk. Okay, Karen, next slide. Oh wait, let's go back. If you're tech savvy and you use Excel, and you can, up at the very top, there's a little red box, and this is small, but that's an Excel icon and a PDF icon. You can download, all you do, if you got a list of transactions and you want to print it out, you can click on this icon and it'll download them to that software for you. So if you use Excel, you know that you can download them there and you can sort them any way that you like to sort them. Okay, down. Okay, this could be your best friend here. I don't know. Veronica said she's your best friend, but this will be a good friend too. Every day at the end of the day, if you'll check your attendance report here, you will see a green Y for every child who's there, and the parent checked them in and out for the day. If it's a red I, that means the parent checked them in but not out. So on this example, if you see the second one, they have an I back on the 9th. Well, after 6 days, they won't be able to go back and check out for that date, and you won't get paid for that date. So it's important that every day you check to make sure they have a complete transaction for the day so that you know you'll get paid for that day. Okay, is that the last slide? So one other thing that I would go back here, and one other thing that I want to say, I see several questions about the TOTS locations, and Ms. Johnson has placed the link to the TOTS locations in the chat box. But we now have 2 locations in New Orleans. One is TCA, and one Agenda for Children is open back up. Look at that link she gave you, because it does tell you whether families will need an appointment to be scanned at those locations. We also have, I think Mr. Mark Thomas is with us today, and he's going to be opening up a 3rd site. And then we have a 4th one in the making. So I think within a couple of weeks, well, by next week, we should have Mr. Thomas in business, and I'll place that on the locations document at this link. And then soon after that, we have one other location that we're hoping to open. So hopefully you'll find that I know that's been a hardship for the past few weeks, but hopefully that's going to get resolved. Thank you, and it was a joy to be with you. I look forward to speaking to all of you. If you do not have access to the portal, if you need training for the portal, you can email me at jackie.drotti2, the number 2, at la.gov. Thank you.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Next up, we will have Andrea, Program Manager from the Division of Licensing. Andrea?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrea Burrow. I'm one of the Program Managers here at the Department of Education in the Division of Licensing. And this morning, I'm going to kind of give you some updates and some kind of reminders with regard to what's going on in licensing. So just wanted to share with you all that regarding the operation hours or services provided, we want to make sure that all centers know that we need you all to pay attention to operating within the license capacity, age range, hours of operation, and other services designated on the license. So, for example, if your capacity is 26, at no time do we want more than 26 children to be present on the site. Another thing that we've observed recently, or maybe earlier last year, sometimes we know that Head Start doesn't start operating until mid-September maybe, so there may be those occasions where children may have not turned exactly 3 yet. So we definitely want to make sure that our license indicates that. So if you're accepting children that haven't made 3 yet, we want to make sure that our license indicates that. So for example, if the children haven't made 3, we want to indicate on your age range should indicate on your license either 2 or 2.5, just in case we come there and have an inspection and that child has not made 3 by, September 30th of that current school year. So anytime you want to make any changes to your license, make sure that you reach out to your licensing consultant, and we'll have at the end of this presentation the contact for our licensing consultants and who is responsible to assist you. So anytime you want to make any licenses any updates to your license, such as adding or removing services, making changes to your age range, definitely want you to reach out to your licensing consultant via email, or you can call us so that we can go about getting those changes to you. Just wanted to remind you all about the request for initial licensure renewals or changes to services. So you'll know that during the COVID period, we're kind of operating a little differently, and wanted to share with you the time frames that we kind of give to kind of process these changes. So as you all know, we're not using CAFE at this time, so we are using the JOP form. So if your renewal month has passed, which is probably everybody just about now, we have been emailing everybody with the JOP form to complete the renewal application. On the website, we also have a link to a JOP form if you want to make any changes, such as a change of location, you want to do a change of ownership, you want to apply for an initial license. Definitely want to encourage you to use the JOP form. It comes straight to us, and it also is supposed to give you a response indicating that your application has been submitted. As far as making changes such as a director designee, we definitely encourage you to email your licensing consultant, and just wanted to kind of let you know that, or remind you, at this time we aren't requesting fees. So make sure that you're not trying to go in CAFE to make payment for fees or mailing us any checks. So at this time, no fees are required. And here's where I was speaking of the licensing consultants. We have each center assigned to a licensing consultant by the first name of their center. So for instance, if you're Total Community Action, your licensing consultant will be Ms. Stacy Griffin. So you definitely want to make sure anytime you have any questions about anything related to Bulletin 137 or about your license, reach out to your licensing consultant. And also on the line, just wanted to let everybody know we do have the director, Sheila Campbell, and Miss Yvette, who is the program manager who's responsible for the field staff. And again, we have, not on the line, but just want to let you know if y'all had any concerns or questions, or just feel like you need some on-site assistance, we do have 2 TA licensing consultants, kind of one helping with the north and one helping with the south, to provide you that on-site technical assistance should you need any extra push at this time. And we definitely want to thank everybody who has made us aware of whether or not they're operating virtually or in person at this time, or kind of doing a combination of both. So definitely appreciate you all for sharing that information with us.
Okay.
And then the next slide is just another slide. That's okay. Just sharing with you all about the contact. If you have any complaints or incidents, you can send those to LDE Licensing, or you can email those to taquencia.johnson@la.gov. And anytime you have any questions, we still have our 225-342-9905 number available to you all, so you can call us and reach out to us at any point you have any questions. We do have at this time licensing consultants answering the line, so the phone calls are kind of going quickly at this time.
Sorry about that technical difficulty.
That's okay. And I was just wrapping up. I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Karen.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Next up, we will have Kyrie. He will be discussing Head Start and EHS, any EHS updates that we have. Kyrie?
Good morning. Yes, While we had Andrea on the line, I just want to say thanks to her and to Sheila and their staff, very capable people. And I also want to thank them for the relationship that we've developed over the last years of the time that we've been now at DOE. We've come a long way with licensing, and so they've been very responsive to us as a Head Start community, and we work with them, to give them information they need to more effectively do their job. So I just want to say thanks to them. Thanks for being attentive and responsive to us. And, sometimes we're presented with situations where time is of the essence. And so there have been many occasions where they stepped up to accommodate us. And I just don't want to let that go without being recognized. So thanks to both you, Andrea, Sheila, and your staff for what you do on behalf of Head Start. I've been asked to kind of give an update, and I think best place to start is also sometimes to look at where we come from to better appreciate where we are today. Really excited that this opportunity had presented itself for us to partner with the state persons responsible for administering the child care block grant, particularly the CCAP portion. And we're now able to develop partnerships where we can perhaps extend the working day. But just to give you a little idea on where all this come from and why it's so important, we've come a long way now that Head Start itself is now turning 55, and early Head Start this year is making its 25th birthday. I thought it was important just to reach back a little bit and see where we came from and how this thing all got started. And so, again, Head Start's been the nation's laboratory. So after reviewing that information, experts and those people who are advocates for early childhood development realized that we need to start a lot earlier. And so efforts were made to support programs that would get to kids a lot earlier. And so what we knew at that time, based on brain research, people thought it was a good idea, an important time to capitalize on this time. So that kids, particularly those who came from, if you would, low-income situations, socioeconomic situations, to give them a heads up when they showed up for kindergarten. And so, we have Head Start. And some 25 years after development of Head Start, now early Head Start. And so even to push things further, and what I really wanted to show you from this is how funding for the program, like in 1995, the first grants went out to make it available across the board, across the nation, if you would, at the tune of $47 million. Right now in Louisiana, since that time, we have like 21 grantees with an annual budget of about $21 million. So in just this short period of time, you can see how this program has trickled into the state of Louisiana and the impact that it's starting to have on our communities. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. Some of the things we've also seen come from early Head Start is the McVie Home Visiting Project. That too was given birth by our early Head Start program and a home visiting component. And so this too has been very important in getting to kids a lot earlier, because now we know that getting to them a lot earlier determines their outcomes. And so the sooner we can get there, the better the outcomes are for kids. And so in 2014, the congressional appropriation at the tune of about $500 million was given to expand the quality of learning slots for infants and toddlers, again, through this process. And so, again, what we're seeing is a continued investment in early childhood and at a younger age for children. And so, what they did in this case is we were allowed to take some of the comprehensive services that we offer through Head Start and then provide them in childcare settings. Initially, people were a little leery about this because as a Head Start grantee or an early Head Start grantee, you're responsible for bringing in childcare partners and bringing their level of service up to what we call the level of quality that's expected in the Head Start performance standards, which is the standards that we use to maintain compliance and quality in Head Start. And so a lot of people shied away from this, but there were several grantees, and currently in Louisiana, we have 6 who are part of that partnership, and they work with about 40 childcare providers. And as you see there, they serve over 750 kids. And so this has been quite successful. And so again, we're seeing an expansion in this type of, or an investment, if you would, on a national level in this type of, these type of childhood, early childhood opportunities. And so here recently, September 27, I think was the deadline for a more recent opportunity to become an early Head Start child care partner or grantee, if you would. And you see the number there, about $103 million plus dollars. And the intention was that 60 grants would come from this. And so that's already gone out. So we're waiting to see what that award is going to be. Hopefully some people in our state, are taking advantage of that application. So we're looking forward to see. Again, very competitive, very tight-lipped in terms of, who apply and where these grants awards are going to go. So again, as soon as I know, I'll share it with you, and let's just hope the state of Louisiana will benefit from some of these partnerships. And so what this partnership, in essence, would allow us to do, and I thought it was very important to pull this from the Head Start Act, which talks about Head Start collaboration and what the function of the Head Start collaboration project is in the state of Louisiana. So again, we're to work with those state agencies and local planning to help meet the needs of low-income children, birth to school entry, and their families, and to coordinate these services, again, with those state entities responsible for administering the Child Care Developmental Block Grant, which funds our CCAP program. And so in all the time that I've been doing this work, and then my other 8.5 years of working nationally on reauthorization, and particularly this document, this is the thing that we'd always try to make available, and that is to make a full day, full calendar year of services available to children and families. Head Start, even though we say we are full-time, we only really provide about 6 hours of services. And families work an 8-hour day at least. And so this gives us an opportunity through this partnership to expand that work day, where we can use our resources on the front end to complement the Head Start day, and also on the end of the day to extend it, to give families a real full day, hopefully a full year of working of childcare, and of quality childcare, while they're at work. And so we're looking forward. I want to thank all the Head Start grantees who took the time to get on this call to look at this opportunity, to seek more information. And as we move forward, feel free to call me, whether you're on your early Head Start grantee or Head Start grantee in reference to this. I want to let you know that the staff working on this in our CCAP department, in early childhood teaching and learning, more than capable, as Melinda, Veronica, and the staff told you earlier. Romney's sitting back there in the cut somewhere, more than capable. They're anxious to help you. And so, again, not to take much of your time, we've been on quite a while. Just want to say, if you need me, reach out to me. In Head Start, we always say when it comes to performance standards, we can do more, but we can't do less. And so more is looked at as quality. So this added to what we're already required to do in our grant applications, to me, looks like quality. So I'm looking forward, to working with you as grantees and child care partners, as well as the department, to expand, again, a full day, perhaps a full year of services to children and families. And I think this is a great partnership. And after a lot of time, a great place to get started. So looking anxious to do this work, anxious to support this work. I just want to say thank you. And I hope you all take this very seriously and maybe take advantage of this. And real quick, I noticed some things when it comes to cost allocations and things of that nature, how you fit it into what you're doing. I've been working with some of you, to talk through some of the stuff and how we do it, as well as when you increase the hours, you increase the needs for fringe benefits, which increase the costs. So again, let's sit down, let's talk about it, and let's find a way to make it work, before we throw our hands up. Again, very excited. Thanks to everyone who made this possible, and looking forward to working with all of you.
Okay, thank you, Kyrie. Okay, next up we will have Trevor Paul. He's a Social Service Analyst 3 here in the CCAP program, and he will be discussing the 2020 census. Trevor?
Greetings, everyone. I'm Trevor Paul. Like Ms. Karen said, I'm going to highlight one of our agency's campaign of this year, which was the 2020 census. Our early childhood team goal was to ensure that every child birth to 3 was counted. In 2010, children under the age of 5 was undercounted by nearly 1 million, guys. Some may ask, why is it important for families to complete the census? It's because the census impacts the federal funds that communities receive each year for programs such as special education, Head Start, after-school programs. Also affects healthcare programs like Medicaid, WIC, SNAP, and infrastructure programs such as housing programs and highway planning and construction. It also determines how many seats we get in Congress. Due to the pandemic, we could not get out and promote the census out on the road in our road shows. Nevertheless, we improvised and utilized the resources we had, which was our website, LouisianaBelieves.com, We utilize emails, virtual meetings, and the phones. You have to be resourceful in times like these. According to the Power, Collision, and Equity and Justice, they pointed out in a recent press release that the census count determines how 1.5 trillion in federal funds are distributed for things like school, roads, healthcare, and disaster relief. Every Louisianan who does not count, it costs the state more than $2,000 per person. Louisiana response rate was low this year, you guys. So look at our governor even stepped in to encourage people to complete the census. Our response rate was 59% to the national rate of 66%. That's 7 points lower than the national average. The census has ended for this session, but going forward, what can we do to ensure our educational community, children, and stakeholders receive all the federal funds made available to them? By sharing the importance of the census every year. So when 2030 comes, we will be ready. Happy holidays, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Next up, Mr. Anthony Martin will discuss our contacts and resources.
Good morning again. Good morning again. When we talk about contacts and resources, I would probably take this one right here and post it right there by my desk, because this is probably the most handy sheet you're going to have. Of course, the email for the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership is ehsccap@la.gov. And of course, my email address, anthony.martin@la.gov. I don't have my new cell phone number listed there, but my new cell phone number is 225-362-7273. I'm going to say that again, 225-362-7273. Of course, for tracking of time, the TOTS, there's latots.org. And if you're having a problem with your machine at the center, you can always call Conduit, Formula Xerox. The number is 1-888-281-0326. And of course, we have available to you as a resource the call center at 1-877-453-2721. And of course, the provider help desk under Ms. Veronica Buckley, 225-250-7635 and 225-252-9543. And also available is the provider help desk ticket system at provider.supportsystems.com and the provider certification at providercertification@la.gov. The Division of Licenses lists their number as 225-342-9905, or you can respond to LDEL licensing. I repeat that again, LDE licensing at la.gov. And of course, the criminal background checks, CCBC LDOE at la.gov. And of course, available as additional resources are trainings, webinars, certifications, renewable forms, and my most favorite, LouisianaBelieves.com, where you can have access to Bulletin 139 and 137. I'm going to repeat my cell phone number one more time, 225-362-7243.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. And before Ms. Melinda closes out, I would like to add some additional information. We have received questions through chat, and those questions have been answered, but we're going to roll up those questions and answers, and we're going to send them out to you all. This training has been recorded, and we will make it available at a future date on the Louisiana Believes website. And lastly, but not least, training certificates will be made available to you providers, and we will email those to you within the next week. Any questions? Okay, Melinda? Ms. LaCote?
I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay.
So guys, we have gone through a lot of information. Don't feel overwhelmed because again, Ms. Buckley, Mr. Anthony Morton, Kyrie, myself, Karen, Ms. Danielle, Sharon Booker, Jackie Drotty, we are all here to help you. The information Mr. Martin just gave, contact numbers, It can expand licensing. We are all here to help you. We are working for you. We are your team, and we are in place to help you through this process. So don't feel overwhelmed. We know that there's a lot going on for you guys. As Kyrie said, I urge you to take full advantage of this opportunity as quickly as possible. I want to remind you, we're taking on more and more applications. We don't want Head Start to get caught in the wait list where your families are going to a wait list. So you need to go through licensing, extend your hours, get with Kyrie to discuss how you're going to separate your funding, get with provider certification, that's Romney and his team, to be certified to take CCAP, get with Anthony Martin and Veronica Buckley, and then you can begin taking applications, working with your families. Most of the documents that are required, you already have. So getting our family advocates to simply schedule a family to come in, pull the documents that you have, attach the documents. If you have questions on how to, your family advocate, or if you need special training for your family advocates on how to exactly to take the application, let Mr. Martin know. We'll schedule a training that is germane to your center and your family advocates to assist them through the process. Whatever it takes, I encourage you to get those applications in like immediately. If I were still in Head Start right now, I would be contacting family advocates to tell them by January 1, I want stacks of applications for families who are requesting extended care hours going out. If you are a program that is doing virtual learning right now, I need you to listen to me. This is very important for your families as well. If you are doing virtual learning right now and your children are receiving, are attending classes virtually, they can apply for CCAP. They can be in a learning center or a learning home and still receive virtual learning services from you. We could provide the before and after care. So don't think because the children aren't coming that you can't get families certified for childcare. Remember, our goal is to serve the children and families of Louisiana. We have a lot of families right now. Parents are struggling to go to work. Children are receiving virtual learning. They're sitting with an elderly grandmother or the neighbor or somebody who's trying to keep them. We want to get those children in high quality childcare centers. And the reason is because as your teachers are providing their virtual learning services, that center can enhance what you're already doing. You can build a partnership with that center, in addition to the fact that those children will be qualified for CCAP services going into the summer. If those children are getting ready for kindergarten, they will not experience as many losses. You know the whole gamut because you are experts in early childhood. I ask you, this is a different way of thinking of the way our partnership works, but I promise you it's not the end. You're going to hear from us a lot. Those of you who expressed a desire to be on the family focus group, the family engagement focus group, that is going to ensure that we utilize our resources of over 40,000. See, we're proud of that. Head Start, over 22,000 families served in Louisiana. CCAP, over 20,000 families in Louisiana. In a combined effort, we serve over 40,000 families in Louisiana. There, y'all need to give yourselves a hand, both CCAP and Head Start and Early Head Start. There are no other programs in the state of Louisiana that can boast that we impact that many families. We impact families, and we're going to utilize our combined expertise to make sure that we engage families, that we not only engage families in CCAP and Head Start, but that we engage families in their children's learning and their children's education. We know the research shows if we engage families right now in the early Head Start, in the Head Start years, then those families are more likely to remain engaged throughout the high school process. We can impact education for Louisiana like no other program. We've worked really hard to ensure that we increase quality in child care centers. But the missing piece is our ability to motivate, to encourage families to get involved and to stay involved in the learning process. That is part of the Head Start philosophy. That is part of the CCAP philosophy. And together we can make it happen. If you're interested in being on this committee, whether you're a family advocate, whether you're a center director, please get in touch with Kyrie. He will send you an invite for our January meeting, our first meeting where we will get together and we will begin the process of discussing what we need to bring to families, pulling together resources that we can give families, and then planning for the spring to go out and to engage those families, utilizing the expertise of the heads of the National Head Start program and family engagement specialty that Head Start does better than anybody else in America. I thank you so much, guys, for coming on today. As Jackie said, this is going to be available to you. I believe this was a complete success. I want to definitely thank my team, every one of them that presented, those that prepared presentations, those that ran into my office to say I wasn't muted. Thank you guys so much. I am very proud to say that in my 60 years of life, I have worked for the two best programs in the United States of America. I have worked for Head Start and Early Head Start, and I have worked for Louisiana Child Care Assistance Program. I don't think any other director can boast that. The two best programs in the United States of America with the two best staff. I thank you so much, guys. You are terrific. Post your questions. If you'd like to unmute, you can unmute now and ask a question if we did not answer it in the chat before we leave. Let me give you a couple of minutes to do that. Is there anybody that would like to unmute and ask a question?
I don't want to unmute to ask a question, but I want to echo your sentiments. This is Melanie Pichon from New Orleans, Louisiana, and my experiences with your organization since mid-March has been phenomenal. So thank you for helping me to do the best I can. And Mr. Martin, I know I drive him nuts, and it's just only going to get worse because I've got more information. So thanks again.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you. See, Melanie, we were Head Start trained. We understand. Thank you for all you do as well, Melanie. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. George?
Yes?
This is Mr. Thomas from LSU Early Head Start.
Hey, Mr. Thomas.
Hello. And I just want to take this opportunity to shout on the top of the mountain how appreciative I am of Mr. Martin. I swear, I believe if I could treat him to dinner or lunch every day, I would. I didn't catch the lady who spoke before me, but as she said, I bug this man all day, every day. On the weekends, I'm sending him stuff, and he responds gracefully. He helps us. We are forever indebted to Mr. Martin on behalf of LSU Early Head Start with Maria Blanco, and I just had to. I've been trying to figure out how to say this.
Come on now, you're gonna make me blush.
But he
is so great.
I am telling you, he is excellent in my book, and we appreciate him so much.
Thank you guys so much, and we're gonna only get better because as we pull in Head Start to this collaboration, Mr. Martin, Ms. Buckley, Mr. Romney, Danielle, Sharon Booker, I can name them all, Jackie, everybody that you've seen, Robin, Tamara, Tara, we are going to be working, Kyrie, of course, Kyrie. We're going to be working to pull in Head Start and to extend all of what we've done for Early Head Start partners to Head Start. So shout out to your grantees. Let them know what's going on. If they aren't on the line, let them know to jump in and get involved as quickly as possible. My goal is to see at least half, at least 50% of Head Start families certified before January 31st of 2021 to receive CCAP. What that means for them is they can receive CCAP during the summer when Head Start is closed, mornings and evenings. That's what we're going to be tracking. That's our team goal. You know, that thermometer that, was it UNICEF? That thermometer that lies is we need a thermometer that says over 50% of Head Start, early Head Start children and families are now certified to receive CCAP funds. And let me share, Robin shared with you what we pay now for CCAP. Well, we just, we're going to be going to ask for increases in those funds. So that means that you'll be getting even more for CCAP families for before and after care. Those families will be qualified for full day services during the summer. So get your families involved. Our goal, number one goal, is to serve children and families all over Louisiana. And thanks again, thanks again. So if there are no more questions, guys, you rock, you rock, you rock. Yes?
God, I hate this echo. Wait, I just want to reiterate something Karen put in the chat box to tell everyone to make sure they email her at karen.fletcher@la.gov to receive your certificate for today's training.
Right. Thank you, Veronica. And I requested that because some of the providers signed on with the name of their center, and the certificate will be for that individual who participated in the training today. So that's why I need you to make sure you email me that information. Thanks.
Sounds great. So if we have no more questions, again, I want to thank every single person, every single provider that logged on. Thank you so much, guys. Looking forward to our work. Be ready for the January meeting. I do expect some of my friends, some of you with these great ideas from New Orleans,